Hello and welcome to the OP12 finals of the Kyoto Championships. My name is Jake. You can also call me Atrocious. We're going to be going over this match and also giving unique English commentary as I am not the actual live stream. So if you want to check out the actual live stream, not hear me talk over this match, I will be posting the link in the description below as always. And if you missed any other round of this tournament and you want to hear my commentary on it, I do have a playlist on the channel, OP12 Kyoto, that you can check out every single video from this tournament exactly in that playlist. Even in the order, you can watch it. And if you're willing to stick around, thanks for hearing me yap. But I also have to pay rent this month, so let's hear from a word from our sponsor real quick.
Our friends over at Nengarnet have officially kicked off the summer sale on their website. Prices are slashed from 10% to
40%
across the entire store now. You can pick up some crazy discounts on One Piece based mats like the Heavenly Yaksha, some great anime themed mats like Paranormal Playmat and also the Curse vs. Beast, as well as if you get a Sun God playmat right now while supplies last. Every purchase of this specific Stitched Edge playmat gets a free playmat tube as well to help protect what you love, as well as a brand new pre-order that's dropped in the Pokemon region if you're a fan of Final Boss, which the colors on this are insane, man. I love this design. You can use my code Atrocious to save an extra 5% off and help support the channel, and make sure to grab your new favorite playmat while this sale's going on because you don't want to miss it. Now, back to the video.
So the matchup that we have right here is Lucci versus Nami. So this is a matchup that a lot of people, including myself, would say that Nami is favored into, right? Rob Lucci, a slow setup deck, removal based, right? Doesn't really have too much aggression. Feels like a lot of times that Rob Lucci, as the game goes on, it becomes much better. But Nami, on the other hand, does not really allow for that kind of style. Sure, there are some components that Nami will maybe have a character on the field or something, and Rob Lucci can easily remove it, but it's going to be tough, especially when the hand for Rob Lucci looks a little bit like this, right? They've got that 2K in Bartolomeo, a little bit of draw in the Tempest Kick, but also some boss monsters in the Jack and Kuzan. The Nami, though, may have a little bit of movement. It all really depends on what that one-drop Nami finds. They're going to have to want to go first and then play the one-drop Nami as soon as possible, because especially in this matchup, right, against Rob Lucci, Nami's not really going to be able to use that one-drop Nami's when attacking or finding an event in the top 5. The rest of the hand, though, outside the Kaya, not looking great. Bunch of Impel Down cards, including Impel Down All-Stars and Deathwing, but Nami is going second in this one. And the reason that I say, Nami probably wants to go first in here is on the 3-Dawn turn, right? Lucci's second turn, they could have a Jack possibly to be able to play down and pop the little one-drop. So we'll just have to see how things go. The Rob Lucci going first is just going to dawn and play down the Tempest Kick. I was going to say the Manchuria at first, but the Tempest Kick is going to allow them to draw one, maybe try to find the Brook, but the Nami is not, or I'm sorry, the Rob Lucci is not going to find a Brook. The Nami is going to go down on a turn 1, be aggressive after that draw, and play down the Kaya. It's going to get rid of the Impel Down All-Stars that's in hand, right? You do not need that in hand. And it's going to be very nice to be able to continue your gameplay. In this 8K swing right here, you don't have any Dawn, so you're fine just taking the life, and it's going to be a Desert Spada. So Desert Spada, going to be really nice. A draw 2, trash 1, finds their 3rd Deathwing so far. So one thing that is very nice right now is clearing out some of those Deathwings. You probably don't really want 1, maybe 2 of them in total in this game, and now your Nami is going to be able to continue to do some searching. So 34 cards left before we choose one on this draw. It's going to put us at 33. Does find a Love Mellow, which could be pretty nice, right? Love Mellow will be good once the hand gets a little small, because we have kind of run out of draw in a sense at this point, but it could be a little bit more on the offensive with this Nami, this promo Nami, right, from the film is so great. The fan letter has a draw one, trash one effect, and then with that activate main, is going to be able to put Arrested Dawn on the Nami leader and allows the Nami to go in and swing for the aggressive, right? Nami's second leader effect of Dawn times 1 being able to mill a card if you take a life. This 2-drop Nami has actually been really important right now for this Nami's game plan. So really excited to see it back in this match. Had a very good top 4 match. And so one thing that I found really interesting at this point is playing the Brook and the Cobra passing off the turn, only getting rid of that 1-drop Nami. You definitely want to get rid of that 1-drop Nami, but a lot of people, I feel like what they would have tried to do is swing with the Rob Lucci, and some people may be curious as to why he did not swing the Rob Lucci at the 1-drop Nami. I've talked about this before in the last episode in the top 4 match. Sometimes, honestly, with your counter events, you just want to keep things alive, especially important pieces like the 1-drop Nami. So, with 2 Dawn up, it's very reasonable that you can get 5,000 counter, right? And after taking that life, that is going to put them down to 30 cards in deck, and just passes off the turn, does not want to play the piece. And this is one of the things that Rob Lucci can capitalize on, right? It's very apparent that Nami is not having any aggressive game plans, right? So being a little slow, just building up the board, right, with the Jack, clearing out the 1-drop Nami, playing down the Kuzans, Laboons, just bigger bodies on the field can be so beneficial. So off of this draw 1, trash 1 on the Lucci is going to get rid of that 1-drop. I do like that 1-drop. And then pass the turn off to Nami on the curve. Nami finding a Sanji's Pilaf, right? A nice draw off of that top of the deck is going to be able to set them up for multiple turns here in the future. Another Sanji's Pilaf in the hand. And one thing that the Nami is probably thinking about right now is, do I play this other Sanji's Pilaf, right? One thing that you can see from this hand and this board state is utilizing this other Sanji's Pilaf. Yeah, may only leave you at 2 Dawn, but what are you really afraid of, right? Jack is probably going to clear out the Kaya, maybe Jack is going to clear out that 2-drop Nami, right, to get it off the board, so then you don't have to worry about leader effect as much. The Brook probably can get rid of the Kaya, right? So there's 2 swings that are immediately off the board potentially if you can counter out of the Brook. So you really only have to worry about Brook and the Lucci leader, and they're still probably going to utilize some Dawn to be able to get out of some swings. And this is a prime example right now with this Lucci. I think the Lucci right now with this 5,000 power swing, I think is trying to bait out the White Snake, right? White Snake would be able to tap out all of the Dawn. No Dawn left to utilize and be a 6K, but that would leave open your Brook and Jack to really put on a lot of pressure. This overheat somewhat does the same thing, just simply because you've tapped out on all your Dawn, but you get to keep the Kaya, you get to utilize the Kaya. That's 2 less cards that you can have on your next turn in your deck, sitting at about 24 cards, I believe. Hopefully you all have enjoyed the little counter that I have on screen, and hopefully what I'm saying is correct. The counter on screen is absolute, by the way, if I ever get it wrong, just to let you guys know. But the Jack now swinging 9,000 power. They're going to take this life, right, and don't really mind on this one. It's going to be a Gum Gum Giant Gavel. The Giant Gavel, you don't really have it on anything on the field that you need to keep alive at this point, so I think it's fine just keeping it in the hand and using it as a counter event as you go to 23 cards. A full 10 Dawn turn for this Nami. Does have that Kaya, like we mentioned, put back in the hand because of the overheat counter event. Is go ahead and draw 2 Kayas, right? So now you've got to figure out which 2 you want to trash. I like the White Snake pitch. I don't really think you need too many more of them, but we'll see as he drops down another Kaya going to 19. Is definitely sitting in a pretty decent spot right now. One of the things you do have to worry about, though, as a Nami, you've used 2 peel-offs and potentially 3 Kayas at the end of this turn. And one of the things that happens to Nami players, right, sometimes is they run out of gas, right? We're seeing a lot of draw right now. We're seeing upwards of like 7 cards drawn within this turn, but there's no more movement after this phase. And do you keep all the Dawn right now for your counter events? Do you go ahead and do a swing at lead? Looks like just passing off the turn at this point. Did do a good amount of digging, right? About 17 cards left in the deck. Keeps finding a ton of Brooks. So this is kind of the tricky spot if you're Rob Lucci, right? You don't really have too many more bodies to play. And one of the things that you can do if you're the Nami, you see that the Brook is a 4,000 power character. They swung just to try to clear one of those Kayas. Being a 4,000 power against a 5,000 power leader, the Nami went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to still use a counter event. I'm going to use this snake dance to be able to pick up my other Kaya, or to pick up this one Kaya, even though it would be over countering. So one of the things as well with this 5,000 power swing, giving the Nami the opportunity to be able to counter out of these other events. What you're trying to do right now, if you're the Rob Lucci, is you're trying to get the Nami to run out of cards in deck, right? Nami has shown a bit of movement. You know they've recycled a Kaya, right? Got it back in hand. You're trying to get them to run out of cards right now because holy moly, the Nami is cooking at this point. At about 11 cards left after that draw, and a Sanji's Pilaf still in the hand right now. And I would think that they would maybe turn that card sideways and do a little bit of draw. You're still at 3 life. You're still relatively healthy at this point. And there goes that Sanji's Pilaf, moving to about 9 cards, I believe, left in deck at this point. Nami going ahead, swinging at this Brook, is going to command either a 2K or the block, and it looks like 2 1Ks is the answer to that. So this Nami not going, or I'm sorry, this Kaya not going to stay on the field as of anymore, right? Is just going to be going down at the Brook swing when they decide to do that. And so attaches 3 Dawn to the Brook, goes ahead, swings 7, and clears that Kaya. No more recycling. That's the biggest thing you got to do if you're a Rob Lucci in a Nami matchup, is you got to get rid of those Kayas. The Sanji's Pilaf being pitched away is something you really like to see, but at 7 cards left and 3 life with still countering to do, especially this level of Mellow to put them at 6, it's looking a little tough for you right now. Getting the Nami 1K counter is not really going to help you, but is a nice gavel pitch option. They only have 4 cards out of this that really are the way to deck out. So on this swing right here, I like using this level of Mellow right now just to be able to draw a card with that condition of the having 3 cards or less in hand, especially if this is a draw trigger of some sort, like draw 2 off of this first life. You're going to be put in a position where you just have too many cards in hand. So using that gavel to go down to 3 cards and still takes the life anyway, a nice rubber band, put them down to 1 or 2, I'm sorry. All they got to do pretty much is draw for the turn. Can't lose at this point just because of all that you have. And with that 1 draw and the Kaya that's in the hand, is going to go ahead and take this championship. Again, a favorable matchup typically for the Nami, especially when they have, I would say, an average start, right? Having the Kaya early, having the Nami early, and the ability to recycle the Kayas, right? Especially with playing multiple characters down on the field at the same time. We saw how much draw those Kayas were able to bring. I think was able to use 6 Kayas within that game, right? Playing all 4 of them and then repeating one twice, basically. So definitely a great showing from this Nami, especially for any of you who are like me and play Nami, maybe want to learn a thing or two about the Nami. But before we go, let's go ahead and take a look at these deck lists. So here's the list of the Rob Lucci. Looks to be a pretty typical list of what we've seen out here in the West for the most part. You've got your typical core of characters in the Rebecca, right? One of the best black cards in the game. You got 4-drop Kuzan, 3-drop Rob Lucci, which we didn't necessarily see in this game, and some boss monsters that we're starting to see in every single Rob Lucci list in the Jack, Kuzan, and Tempest Kick. There we go. Let me have you see the counts of these cards. The Jack and Kuzan have been a great combo in this format, especially against the top Luffy decks of blue, purple, and green, purple, as well as helping clear out some bodies against swarm decks like Bello Betty, like Zuro, Silver's Rayleigh. But countering those big decks and still being a slow setup deck doesn't give you the same pace that you need to be able to battle against Nami. We did see in this game one of their tech cards, the Nefeltari Cobra, right? Just really a 2-drop blocker that is able to be able to put once you utilize more Dawn elsewhere, right? Especially on awkward turns like a 6 Dawn turn, playing down a 4-drop Kuzan and then going into finishing out your turn a 2-drop Koba can be really strong and annoying for your opponent to try to get rid of both bodies on the field. In my opinion, an incredible leader effect in Rob Lucci, but not one that's helpful in this matchup. Now we've got the blue Nami. So this list very interesting in my opinion, different than what we've seen in Nami lists over the last couple months. Right. The typical core is there of the Kayas, the 4-drop Namis, and the various different events that you see right here, especially these 1-drops. The White Snake, Love Love Mellow, and Pilaf combos all sitting at 4-ofs, but there's a couple different other inclusions that we see in this list that are very interesting to note, and that maybe a lot of people haven't thought of in a long time. We have seen plenty of Nami decks go down in Snake Dance. That's not necessarily as surprising, and Brickfist has been something that people like Adam Cisneros have been playing since the introduction of OP10 in Nami, bringing that back into the deck. The promo Nami is a very nice card to have. We've seen it played out in both the top 4 and the finals match, and I've actually really liked it. It does have that on play of drawing one and trashing one, but with that activate main, being able to put Arrested Dawn on your leader, you're able to kind of have this aggressive style in taking the life to just try to snag another card, right? A lot of times on Nami, it's just felt really bad to use one of your active Dawn on your leader to be able to go in and swing, try to take a life and mill a card. But now, after you've already utilized that Dawn, whether that's, a Kaya, an Apis, Dazbones, Nami, it's reutilization of your resources with that 2-drop Nami. I really like that one of inclusion. Dazbones also making it back as a one of inclusion, even though we didn't really see it within this tournament in the stream matches, is definitely just a nice card overall, especially when you're more aggressive on milling or just discarding cards from your hand, right? Especially to fit your Level of Mellow and Deathwing conditions. The Deathwing being up at 3 was very surprising to me, right? I've liked playing around with one Deathwing, but I've been on and off Deathwing as of late, whereas this person piloting 3 of them, and we saw them a couple times through this top 4 and finals match, especially when you can chisel your hand down to those 1-0 cards by the time that you play this Deathwing. You can constantly draw off of it and get out of an astonishingly big attack, right? Netting you up to 11,000 as this is a 6,000 power counter event. Overheat's really nice as well, right? Being able to grab one of your active 3 cost or less characters and put it back into hand. This is actually probably pretty good in a blue-purple Luffy meta, right? Blue-purple Luffy, green-purple Luffy, some of the top decks that we've seen not only in this tournament but in this format in general. The overheat is actually probably a really nice component to be able to utilize your Kayas again, right? Those decks not necessarily having a ton of great removal in the matchup gives you the flexibility of saying, okay, since these 2 are not going to swing, or this Kaya is not going to swing, I'll put myself up to 9,000 power on the counter on one of their attacks, and I'll go ahead, pick up my Kaya, let them know that next turn I'm going to be drawing 2 cards off of this. Definitely fun watching Nami as a Nami fiend myself, definitely love the deck and what it does. I know it may not be the most exciting to everyone, but I appreciate those of you that have been sticking around with me on this championship. And as well, I mentioned the other day that Hong Kong recently had a 1-on-1 and 3v3 championships, and as you can see, these VODs are like 6.5 hours, 6 hours long. Let me know. I was thinking of, once I get back from like the Vegas regional and stuff and my trip out on the East Coast, going in and doing live stream commentary of these. We hop on a live stream, we check out all these matches. Maybe not necessarily putting them out as videos, but as a watchable VOD, just to get a little bit more practice, because Hong Kong is in that OP12 format, and I don't believe there was any English commentary over these matches. Thank you again so much for watching. Definitely appreciate all your support, and make sure to go check out the other videos on our channel, and we'll see you later. Thank you again.